you see Necros ranked up to Celestial as support?
Still the person
I mean, that was inevitable, man. That was always gonna happen. Not that surprising. Honestly, I think it's gonna be probably worse now. Now there's like this whole, now people are saying tank strike. I went and asked him. I was like, yo, what the f went on with the tank strike thing? And apparently it's some out of context clip of him flaming Andrew, the Venom player, and they're just memeing together. But like, obviously people were looking for shit to start. And you know what? Dude, I'm standing on business with this. I wasn't gonna, but now I am. If you know, you know. I don't know what it is about Rivals, but I swear to God, Rivals is like the gaming equivalent to LSF. If you know what LSF is. If you know, you know. Alright? And I don't know what it is. I actually do know what it is. I do know what it is, actually. It's exhausting, though. Everyone's just drama farming. It's actually really sad how fast this community has kind of gone downhill, at least in my opinion. I kind of am thinking maybe I should have took a little more of an aggressive stance when Rivals came out. I was thinking about this last night when I was going to bed. When Rivals came out, I was very much more passive, kind of just, I wanted to be in the audience, more as just like a spectator, but also still participating, right? Like making content, whatever. I wonder if I could have made more of a difference if I had pushed harder on certain things. And for example, Necros is innocent. Well, he is, but he isn't at the same time. It's not his fault entirely, but there's other things too. I don't know why Rivals is like this. I do know why Rivals is like this, and I'll tell you my reason why Rivals is like this. But I feel like this whole game's culture is rage baiting and pissing each other off and clout sharking. I've never seen more clout sharks than I have in Rivals. Everyone's just trying to farm each other for content, starting drama, trying to like leech viewers, like by like getting like making videos about them or making other things. Everyone's doing it, right? Like obviously, like I'm a big streamer. I'm like a bigger streamer, right? I was like one of the biggest streamers in Overwatch. A lot of people know me as like quote unquote the Overwatch guy. I'm used to it, right? I don't really mind that much. But like you even see like the smaller like mid-level creators kind of all doing it to each other, right? You see all the TikTok creators doing it to each other. Dude, what the f is happening? And I'll tell you what's happening. I recognize all of it. It's all the disgruntled Overwatch people.
Got one.
Or not all of them, mostly. Blame the audience for falling for it? I think cringe culture. I think rage bait culture is cringe. I think it's cringe. I think it's become like the new thing, and I think it's like common with younger audiences. I blame rage baiting Spider-Man. They started it. You know what's funny? The rage bait Spider-Man guy, his videos are actually funny. They're actually legitimately funny, and it's not like he's like hardcore shit talking people most of the time. Although with time, I think he kind of started to a little bit. That's just like one small. It's a more of a collection, right? People see, oh, this gets lots of views. People do a ton with it, right? And it does really well. I'm gonna do it too, right? You know how I was just trying to get into the point. Let me finish my point with the Overwatch people, right? Most of these disgruntled Overwatch people, I would bet, have probably gotten either banned in Overwatch or gotten warnings in Overwatch or were tired of it, right? Because Overwatch had a culture the last like year or so where people would get really, really, really mad. They would get banned in Overwatch quite often because the report system was very aggressive. And every other week there was a new post on Reddit or something saying that like I got banned for saying nothing, like literally nothing. It was actually an example where somebody said they typed garlic bread in game chat and got banned for it. A Blizzard employee hopped on Reddit and responded and said, actually, I looked at the ticket because the ticket number at the top is actually correct, but you inspect elemented. That's not what you said. You actually said this, and posted the logs of what they actually said and said you just inspect elemented it to change it to garlic bread. And they trolled so hard, they made garlic bread a streamer mode name, a randomly generated streamer mode name in Overwatch. Peak cinema. But regardless though, a lot of the toxicity over there is kind of come this way. And it's not really there at the moment. I went back and I've been playing a lot more, and all of a sudden it's been kind of nice. The rise of the TikTok and decline of education. Everyone loses the ability to think critically, and due to predatory algorithm and short-term content, that's why Rage and Toxicity is shitting on each other. Oh yeah, you're not wrong. You're 100% correct. I mean, even the tank strike clip, right? That's the point though, is like it gets views and it gets people's attention and they feel power when they do it, right? You wanna know what I think it is? Real talk. It's just become us versus them. I know the world's up right now. Like, things are really charged all over the place, no matter where you sit, right? But like, think about how fast Rivals devolved. It became class versus class. It became tank players versus support players versus DPS players. It became individual players, right? Like, I play Magneto versus Spider-Man. It became hero-based. It became Lord Portrait-based. Like, if you don't have a Lord Portrait, you don't know what you're talking about. If you do have a Lord Portrait, you know everything. It became ranked-based. And then you also had a inflated rank system, too. So, like, you had a lot of people that were on the high end of the rank spectrum with the very classy title of Grand Master. So you have a lot of people that are talking very, very, like they know what they're talking about, but quite frankly, don't. Then you take that tribalism a little bit further, where they were fighting other games, right? Like, Rivals community was going after every game under the sun. They went after Overwatch really hard. They were going after, like, Apex. They went after Valorant. They went after Fortnite a little bit, actually. They were just, like, going around picking fights with everybody when Rivals was at its peak back in, like, December, January, right? And, like, being like, oh, these games suck. Look at the Rivals. They're so much better. So it was just lashing out all over the place. And now it's like spun out and it's kind of become a little smaller, right? Kind of up, but it's exhausting. Normal human beings playing the game don't care. Normal human beings playing the game do care though, in some way, because what they experience is the toxicity of it, right? And so if you queue up a random game, your chances of getting flamed in Rivals are 10 times higher, I think, than, say, in Overwatch, for my example. I don't know about other games as well, but like, I'm gonna use what I've got. I'll tell you this, you know what I noticed from playing the Overwatch the last week? A lot of my female audience was showing up to Overwatch streams again, right? I noticed, like, I didn't really see them that much during Rivals, right? I respectfully disagree. I get flamed way more in Overwatch. Like, you still do, or is this an old feeling? Because if you're talking, you know what? Hang on. I don't think you're incorrect, but I want to provide context. Incoming. So I watched this video the other day. Flats reacts to I'm done with Mario Rivals for now. It's from a video from a creator named Spylo. Very good creator. Awesome dude. You should go check him out if you haven't. I want you to read this. I find the community to be a lot worse state than the game, to be honest. I've never seen such a spiteful community that goes out of their way to antagonize each other. And if you keep going through these, you'll actually see people that bring up Overwatch. Oh. No, this is not the one I was thinking about. There's another one in here that talks about Overwatch. And talks about how it was old Overwatch, right? And how it's just as toxic as Overwatch is. But like, it's outdated info. You know what I mean? It's outdated info. It's not totally like that anymore. And like, the report system in Overwatch is aggressive. Like, you will, if someone types some shit to you in Overwatch, like types at you and you report them, like, let's say they like, you piece of shit, and you report that, you are waking up the next day with that thank you for reporting message. It is coming. I promise you. That thing is mean right now. Regardless, not the point. I don't want to go on Overwatch stuff. I wanted to go on, just in general, like, people are not stupid. Like, they see it, right? Like, people have social media. They have TikTok. They have Twitter, right? That shit comes across their feed. And, like, yeah, they don't engage with it. Yeah, they don't really give a f. But when people sit back and watch shit like that all the time, they're gonna be like, why is everybody so whiny? Why is everybody like, what are these videos? Like, what is this, right? To say it has no influence, I think is untrue. These kids didn't grow up in the MW2 lobbies on the 360. Okay, first off, listen, I grew up in those lobbies. I was that age. I don't think that should be a flex. Second off, the part you're kind of missing is you didn't record the lobby and then hop on TikTok to then like talk about it and make it a big issue, right? And like shit talk people and like blow it up. Like once the lobby was over, it was over because nobody saw it, right? So like I understand where you're getting at, but it's in a lot of ways actually potentially worse because it will get amplified way beyond whatever that interaction was, right? In this case, the quote tank strike thing. We're talking from what I was told, an out of context clip between two friends flaming each other, used as a spark to start more drama for more views and to chase those views. And it's just like, what in the f are we doing? What are we doing? I won't lie.
Got one.
Normally, I do think that like the us versus them mentality really is stupid, especially with like people say like creators ruin like streamers ruin games. Like that's like a new thing people believe now. Like there was like I remember like during the beginning support strike thing, there was some unhinged TikTok saying like Necros ruined Rivals, Fortnite or Ninja ruined Fortnite. It was like what in the world? But I think there is a little bit of accountability to potentially be had among every creator in Rivals for just constantly rage baiting, constantly drama farming, constantly wanting to start shit for views, right? It is kind of dumb. It's sarcasm though. It's really not. It's like veiled sarcasm. It's like getting in an argument with somebody online, and then when you start losing that argument, or if they make a really good point and you can't say something bad, then you just go rage baited.
That's amazing.
And then it's like, no, you didn't actually believe that when we started. You didn't believe that. You're just trying to win. Yeah, it's just a prank, bro. That's the new version of It's Just a Prank. Schrodinger's asshole. Yeah, Schrodinger's ballsack. My favorite. You know what? I think that's even worse when you have a season like Season 2 of Rivals. I don't think Season 2 is like that good. Like I think there's issues with it, right? And when you have a culture of rage baiting, quote unquote sarcasm, quote unquote like all this other shit, like how do you expect to solve those problems? How the f do you expect to have like a good discussion and get everyone's point of view, right? Because like, let's use the support strike as an example, right? Everyone's saying like, you know, you guys they kind of started it, right? It was like, oh, you know, you guys are targeting us as supports, and it's like, okay, like it was a little bit misconstrued. It was more about like the toxicity and more about dive being strong, not about like people not being appreciative of supports, right? It was kind of like the message wasn't packaged properly. Someone kind of needed to like break it down and open it up and be like, hey, what's going on? But instead, then it became like a challenge to the person they were attacking. And now, like, I don't know what like, you expected. Of course he was gonna to Celestial, like, as long as he has the mechanics. Like, DPS is the role that can get to the top ranks on all things. Like support or tank is harder to get to like let's say you're an Eternity tank player, an Eternity support player. It is harder for those players to hit Eternity on DPS than it is for a DPS player to hit Eternity on tank or support. Just because mechanically they already have a leg up, right? Then it becomes a challenge, and then what's going to happen is that they're going to answer the challenge and they're going to win. And then either the goalposts are going to get moved, which is what happened, or people are going to get like upset and take their ball and go home, and they leave, and they just peace out, right? It feels like it just went to shit so fast. I think it's the competitive nature that makes people mad from time to time. I mean, you can have a competitive game and not have the culture be what it is. Why is everybody saying you're calling out Necros? I'm not calling out Necros. I'm saying that like the entire culture of this game right now has become, it's become this weird like rage baity, but also like clout farmy, drama farmy group, you know? We used to have a saying for it in Overwatch when people were bored. You could tell it was a bad season of Overwatch by the amount of drama that there was in the community, right? Like you'd see like some random, if you're in nowhere, you would know. You'd see some random like metro drama, right? And you're like, what the f is this? Like why the hell is everyone talking about this? And it's because everyone's bored as shit. I think Rivals takes that and like takes it 10 times harder, you know? No. I'm not saying Necros isn't cloud farming. There are people in this community though that do that. I'm not saying you're misconstruing what I'm saying. I'm talking about multiple issues at the same time. I'm talking about rage baiting, and I'm talking about everyone getting mad, but like, for example, with the Necros one, using the support one, right? The support clip, the original support clip was like a season 1 support clip used in season 2. And now there's quote unquote some tank strike one that's starting. And it's apparently an out of context clip, because I went and asked him myself, some out of context clip between him and Andrew, right? But it's like, they get views. People want to start shit. That's rage baiting. It's not him rage baiting. It's other people rage baiting using him, right? But there are creators there's a lot of people that like are just kind of huge clout farmer or clout chaser or clout sharks, right? And they like want to like use each other for drama or for views or to like start shit. And that's why I use the mannerism LSF. It's like gaming LSF, right? It's crazy and it's weird. It's weird. I don't know why it's like that. I don't think I'm the only person who feels that way though. And I do think there does need to be a little bit of accountability on like everyone. I never appreciated the community, the content community of Overwatch as much as I did until right now, right? Like, it's weird. Like, yeah, everyone in Overwatch doesn't always love each other, and like, not everyone's like best friends, but like everyone has like some level of respect for each other, right? Like, there's no like hardcore drama farming. There's no like hardcore like, you know, like, oh, trying to start shit for views. Like, if you just don't like someone, you just kind of like don't interact with them and you like parallel move on, you know? I was thinking about this the other night when I went to bed. I wonder if I was more aggressive in the beginning of Rivals. Could I have helped not have that happen? Because they're like, I don't feel like there's anybody who kind of like said anything against it early on. You know, like nobody. Doubt it. You're probably not wrong. You're probably not wrong, but there was like nobody that like called it out. Might have fed into it if you did. Not wrong. I feel like we did. I feel like we did a lot of good with Overwatch over the years. Like there was a lot of shit that had problems. I'd say it's fair to say we had a decent hand in making sure that those didn't become bigger problems, and you know. I'm still confused on what attracted Rivals such a toxic community from the get-go. Well, hang on, that's not true, right? Rivals community from the get-go was not like that. They existed, they were there, but they weren't. Okay, right? Let's think of it this way. Let's say you have a room with 1,000 people in it, right? And there's 10 people who are assholes in the 1,000 people, and everyone in the room is talking at the same time, and 10 people are trying to be assholes. If everyone's talking at the same time, right, you can't really notice the 10 people. Like, you might see them if you're around them, but not really. Now, take that 1,000-person room and drop it to 100, and the 10 people are still there. It's much easier to notice 10 people being assholes among 100 people than it is 10 people among 1,000, right? You have to also remember, Rivals came out at a time where most games were hurting. Apex was hurting. Overwatch was hurting. Valorant was hurting. Help me out here. I'm sure there's some other games that are hurting. Destiny was probably hurting. There's COD. Oh my god, COD was in the shitter. R6? Was R6 hurting? Probably. Yeah, probably. Paladins? Okay. Alright. Okay. A little bit. Point is, though, right? You have all these people from all these different games, and they're all burned out on their other game, and they find something new to play, and it's supposed to be like the best new thing, but they don't even realize why they were burned out on their other game, and so they play this new game. Well, what happens? Everybody wants different things. Different communities are meshed together. Some communities are more aggressive than others. And then you take into the aspect what I was talking before, where if everybody wants different things, how do you get your side listened to? Well, people start banding together. You start talking about, oh, well, tanks were like, oh, tank players know stuff. Oh, the DPS players. Oh, the support players. Then it comes down to individual, like, oh, I'm a Spider-Man player, like Spider-Man, and then like people are like Spider-Man players, right? And then it comes down to like Lord portraits, or like if you don't have a Lord portrait, you don't know what you're talking about. Or if you know you have a Lord portrait, people are like, oh my god, yeah, I have a Lord portrait. I've been playing, I have this many hours. Don't talk to me. I know what I'm talking about, right? And then you have also people call it rank egoing, where it's like, you know, people will say like, oh, I know what I'm talking about because I'm Grandmaster. Then you put that with, you know, like our inflated rank system. You have a lot of people that have that Grandmaster title, right? And so you have all these people that are arguing about stuff constantly and getting mad. Time is a flat circle. I know time is a flat circle. It really is. I know. But it's like, those people get more and more and more aggressive. They want their way. They don't feel like they're being listened to. And then combine that with people that are maybe not having as much fun. They start talking about like, hey, I'm not having as much fun, whatever's going on. And some people shout them down. I'll give you a example. Right here. This video when Spilo released it was like back here in March. And he was talking about like season 1.5 going into season 2. And people were basically like, well, if you don't like to play the game, don't if you don't like the game, don't play it. Shut your goddamn mouth. So you don't even want people that have good feedback. And then you take it the next step where then if you do have good feedback and you get people that get in an argument, somebody starts losing, they start going, oh, I was just rage baiting you. And then we have a whole rage bait culture. And then everyone starts getting mad at each other, trying to farm each other for content. You see the problem I'm trying to articulate to you. It's a long timeline. Right? It's it's way too complicated to say it's one thing or one person or one whatever, or one incident. But it's all the things that are put together. I think unless Rivals, and I mean every person in Rivals, whether it's community creators, one down, whatever, kind of puts the brakes on what is happening, I think you're going to turn people off to this game long term. I don't think it'll die or anything. But I think it'll probably develop its own community that comes in for new heroes and stuff, and then immediately leaves. And
nothing personal.
Double KO.
The hero shooter genre is one of those genres where if you don't keep up with it, you get left behind very quickly. And if you have a group of people that are playing it all the time and getting a lot better, and you have a group of people that are the quote casuals that are supposed to be coming in and coming out consistently, and that's supposedly your core community, and they are going to be left so far behind in the long term, and you combine that with a community that maybe doesn't feel as welcoming to them, but it feels like, you know, you probably aren't gonna have a great time. They're not gonna play the game as much, and that gap is gonna get wider and wider between the people who play all the time and the people who don't really play at all. And the larger that gap becomes, the more daunting it is to load up the game again, meaning that they're not going to play the game after a certain amount of time because they feel like they're too far behind. It happens in Overwatch, and I'm telling you right now that people have been coming to my chat the last week. I've seen so many people this last week that are like, hey, I play Rivals, I've never played Overwatch, or hey, I haven't played Overwatch since 2016, 2017, 2018, whatever. Can I get back into it? Is it possible? And I've had to like walk people through like, yes, why it's possible, and also being like, hey, you're gonna probably not gonna have you're gonna be behind in the beginning, and that's okay. And I like give them like a step-by-step guide on how you should get back into it very slowly, because it's gonna take you some time. But like, these are the people that are like outgoing enough to come to my chat and feel comfortable enough to be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. How should I get back into it? The large majority of people don't have someone ask about that kind of stuff, and so they're just never going to do it. And so when you talk about Rivals, and you talk about all these people, and you already talk about a community that's probably not going to feel welcoming, and you have all these issues that are going on, and then you also are trying to keep your community alive off casual players, and the gap between the casual player and the competitive player is going to get larger and larger over time as they get better, and they're also not going to want to come back as much because they feel like they're shit. I'm just saying you're developing a potential long-term problem very, very quickly. You're speedrunning it. What causes that is releasing heroes too fast that are not balanced. That's why Overwatch was going downhill since Doomfist. That is the most wildly untrue statement. As I mean this with all love, okay? I'm really not trying to flame you. You are not educated on the topic. I'm sorry. Every hero and every game has characters that come out that are absolutely dog shit. And it's not about unbalanced. It just means that they up on the table of the hero designs kit. We have them in Overwatch to this day. There's 3 big ones for me personally. It's Mauga, Orisa, and Hog. Hog's a cool hero, just doesn't work in 5v5. Orisa just feels boring as shit, and Mauga keeps me up at night, right? Historically, Brig was the big boogeyman, and Doomfist was the boogeyman to most support players because you just charge up a punch and one-shot them. Those things do not have anything to do with speed of release, though. They have to do with hero design concept. And Overwatch is 8 years deep now, and they have gotten much better at it. But they're not perfect, and they still f up. And you could spend a year working on a hero and still release it, and it would be up, right? Because sometimes, and I mean this with all love to devs, they are sometimes not competitively viable enough to understand the mind of a pro player. I was watching Surefour last night play Adam Warlock. That guy literally spent the entire game, multiple games in a row, in the enemy team's spawn. He was playing Adam Warlock on the flank by himself and killing people consistently. If you saw it last night, if you were there, you know what I'm talking about, right? Do you think the average dev that when they made Adam Warlock, they were thinking, are people going to just consistently flank on this guy and just play support flanker? Probably not, right? That's the shit that is the difference between like a pro player and a dev. And sometimes devs make things that sound cool and sound fun, and then some pro players come along and go, let's break the out of this. And they break it to such an extreme, and they make it so bad that they never could have predicted it. They could spend 3 years crafting this hero, and it still could happen. So I understand where you're coming from on the idea of like, oh, like they release too fast. That's why they're broken. No, sometimes they're broken because they up. It has nothing to do with the speed. Yes, I think Ravos could bump into some problems releasing heroes every month. That might be a little too quick. But if we're talking like the old Overwatch pace, it's the exact same as today's. And that's not the problem. That was never the big problem. The problem with Overwatch when they released Doomfist and released Bring is the old Overwatch team of 2017, 2018 was too stubborn to admit their mistakes and refused to walk them back. The today's team is much different. They understand when they up and they decide to move them back. That is the difference. Because you could give them 3 years, and if they release it and it sucks and people figure out how to break it, if they don't realize, oops, our bad, that's the problem. That's what you're actually upset with. And you're right to be upset with that. But like, the way you formulated the thought was incorrect. That's all I wanted to say to you. I'm not trying to like hard flame you, but no ego. I have a lot more knowledge on this topic. And I want to share that with you. I'm not saying that as a way to say f you. I want that as a way to like, when you think about it in the future, you can still think about it the same way. Just know that how you get to that thought is a little different. And maybe that'll make you a little more open-minded to it. Nah, full ego. Get good shit. Oh, no. Part of Overwatch's failure is bad esports since Prime Overwatch. Sorry, not wrong, but I'll tell you what happened there. Bobby Kotick wanted Overwatch League to be the big thing. Jeff Kaplan said to Bobby Kotick. They did not get along. So like he would try to hard force the esport and basically to spite him be like, nope, let's do this instead. That's actually how Overwatch 2 became a thing. They wanted to build a PvE. They wanted to build a more, you know, PvE type game. Bobby wanted a more competitive esport game. Wanted to hire more people to work on 2. That's a higher up people problem, and all those people don't exist anymore. I mean, I guess they're technically still alive, but like they're not there no more. The idea of Overwatch League wasn't bad. The idea of Overwatch League was actually phenomenal. The execution is what. Bobby's laughing with his millions in the bank. Yeah, I know. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But he's not laughing, actually. You know what he's doing nowadays? Now he's going on podcasts and talking about the whole reason why he was outed was because of unions. That guy's not laughing. That guy's miserable as shit.